I have a project today. So we're gonna take it in my bedroom. We're gonna dig out that project from the closet. Which should be, yes, right here. Ha! Oh my goodness, look at this thing. Let's bring it out into some better light. So you guys can see more of what we're gonna be working on. Sorry for the mess, it's kind of... I cleaned, but I didn't clean enough. Always Diet Dr. Pepper. How else am I supposed to live my life? So I have two ideas. You see, this is a painting, and it looks really weird and kind of strange. And the reason for that being is, if you take a look, it is done on metal. And it's kind of like the highlights are done through reflecting. This is a really old painting I did back when I was 21. So, too many years to count. And I wanted to rework this particular painting. I wanted to do something new with it. So, I'm going to cut myself off there because I ended up rambling on for quite some time. I ended up taking out the old painting from the frame and decided to take it downstairs, and as you can see here, I have started to sand off the old painting. It's taking its sweet time to get polished off, but you know, it's definitely, you know, coming along. I just used some basic sandpaper on a really old sander to do this. I had originally come up with the project idea for this, well, a number of years ago. Like I said, when I was in my 20s, and so that was like 13 some years ago. And I wanted to do a lot more with it, but I wasn't really in a good, healthy place and didn't have the resources I have now, sanders and other tools, garage space, places I can spray paint. I was in a crappy apartment that, well, honestly, I probably could have spray painted on the carpet and nobody would have fucking cared, but I wanted to be nicer. It was my first apartment I ever had, even if it wasn't a great situation. So I just came in afterwards and polished it all up with a little bit of finer grit sandpaper that I hand sanded on there to give it a little bit of a shine. Just wiped it down with some rubbing alcohol to get rid of any of the rest of the residue that was on there. So here now you can see I have started drawing my pattern, and all I'm doing basically, I'm just going to do a really simple flower on this one, and well, a whole bunch of little flowers, really similar to the last one that I did. And I've still been kind of feeling kind of uncreative, but I wanted to practice with different mediums, and I really don't paint ever. Last time I really did anything painting was about a year ago, and that was really just a really simple painting that will be burned and never seen by anybody but me. But I've really just don't do much painting. Before this, really, the only painting that I had done too was this particular painting, and it was 10 years ago, roughly. So kind of learning how to paint again, and I did some experimenting. I think I would have done a number of things different this time, or I should say next time. But I haven't actually had the chance to do another one of these, though I am planning to. I did mention that I have two ideas, and the second idea was to work with the other sheet of metal that I had in the beginning of the video. That sheet of metal is made of aluminum, and I want to do something where I spray paint on that instead of hand paint, and then etch a design into the spray painted metal, but I haven't decided what I want to do for that. So I ran into quite a few problems with this one, actually. When I was trying to put the paint down, it really just, it wanted to smear a lot. It didn't really want to get a nice, good coating, so I ended up having to double coat everything. And I think one of the things I would have changed is I would have put a base coat down first. Even though I wanted to have the majority of the metal exposed, I ultimately covered up a large quantity of it just for the added effect that I wanted as I continued to etch into the metal, or I should say through the paint to the metal. And I actually do etch deep enough where I actually leave a scar in the metal as well, and that helps with that reflective property. I can't say I really recommend doing this for anyone. It's a lot of work for ultimately a minimal design. Uh, I think if I did something a little bit more elaborate, a little would have been better. But I had to like go over everything like 3 or 4 times. I had to do the rose twice. Had to go over all the details in the rose again, all the details in the leaf again. It was a bit of a undertaking, and it was kind of in itself a little frustrating, but I still enjoyed doing it because it really gave me a lot of practice using brushes, and I don't use brushes very often. And you'll see I kind of reference the original drawing that I had done on a sticker slap a number of months ago, and I kind of taking inspiration from that rose and trying to improve my one only angle of rose that I know to draw. I know how to draw other angles of roses. I just prefer the front on view, I guess. I'm lazy. Don't judge me. But I had a lot of fun doing this one. It was a pretty good project, pretty intensive. It took a while. I'm doing a lot of highlights in the rose, trying to make the edges of the rose kind of pop out a bit more. And to do that, I had to bring in some higher contrast. So I come in and I do some light lines with the black. And I've been trying to do more and more art lately, especially since recently having a big struggle with art block. And I'm kind of just coming out of that, and I'm feeling really confident with my art. In fact, since the recording of this video, I have actually done several other art pieces, smaller ones, but I'm continuing up with progress to continue to try to keep up the pace. And now I'm trying to catch up with some of the YouTube video stuff, because that in and of itself can be kind of a challenge to keep up with. But I do plan to do a lot more metal art as well. In fact, I'm trying to figure out how I could stream some of that, but that's pretty hard for me to do at this time. So I don't know if there's going to be a good way for me to do that, but we're looking into options. I still have for those of you who don't know, I have a toaster computer, which is a small computer that I've put into a Black & Decker toaster. I originally had planned to use it for cooking streams, but I never cook enough, and my kitchen's been kind of a mess lately, so I just haven't bothered. So maybe I'll do that again. I've thought about it. I just haven't really committed to the idea of it. I want to do more of it, but I'm not a really good cook, and like I just mostly wanted to do it for kind of a couple of jokes. And we baked a cake for when we hit 750 followers on Twitch, and that was kind of fun. But I had a bunch of connection issues, and I just haven't sat down to fix any of that yet. And I've been a little distracted with doing art and looking for jobs and just, trying to keep, ends meeting so that I don't end up, having to sell half the stuff in my house while I'm searching for a job. That being said, I'm actually looking to sell some of my art here in the near future, and I'm trying to get prepared for that. And part of that is like with this particular painting here that I did on the metal, I want to sell it, but it's not perfect. But I think art isn't meant to be perfect either. It's just meant to be art, and it's beautiful to whoever sees it and enjoys it, and I think it's beautiful. Makes me happy. But I think overall the painting came out pretty good. I'm happy with how it came out. I don't want to redo it. I don't want to feel like I need to sand off the paper and try again. But like I said, there are some things I would do different. And as you can see here, I'm filling in black behind all of the roses and flowers and everything else in the painting. And that's incredibly tedious. And I had to double coat a lot of it. So doing that just took up so much time. I would have been much better off getting a general idea of what I wanted to paint and then painting the black down first and then painting over on top of that. That would have just saved me a tremendous amount of time. So in the future, I'll probably do something like that if I do another one in this style, but I'm looking at a couple different styles. I'm even looking at things like street art for inspiration. I've always wanted to do some street art stuff, so you could see some stuff like that coming in the future. But I think the best way to keep in track with that is follow me on Instagram. Obviously follow me or subscribing to me on here. And follow me on Twitch too, because I do more stuff on Twitch than I put on YouTube, just because I don't have the time to create videos on top of Twitch streaming, because when you're already streaming 8 hours a day and then creating art and then playing video games on Twitch as well, it's hard to keep with the YouTube game. Plus, I try to make YouTube videos for my other channel, which is more focused on, well, only focused on my video games. So it's a lot. There's a lot I'm trying to do. Maybe I'm trying to do too much stuff. But if you are wondering, all I use to scratch and etch all of the designs in is just an X-Acto knife, which is incredibly tedious, but it gave me the most precise, accurate feel, and it didn't scrape up the paint much, so it came out very nice, and I'm very happy with the final look of it. If you are interested in purchasing something like this, keep an eye on my social media, Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, or anything like that. I will have in the future links to an Etsy shop that I'm going to start, and once I have that started, I will post it everywhere to help advertise it. I have a couple little contests coming up as well, and we also have a birthday stream coming up in 5 days. So stay tuned for that. Follow me on Twitch for that. You can then watch me probably get a little drunk and stay too long streaming. And yeah, so anyway, I'm kind of out of footage here, so I'm just going to wrap up. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and the commentary. I'm still kind of new at doing live commentary for this kind of stuff and one solid recording, so bear with me. And yeah, thanks again for watching. Be sure to subscribe, like, yeah, all that stuff. I don't know what else do YouTube. Oh, ring the bell. That's the, yeah. Hit that bell. That's what they want now, I guess. I don't know. Are there any advertisers left on YouTube anyway? Does it even matter anymore?